Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent.
And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. You know, Pac just had died.
So this one night, 50 called me up, and you know they got him on the phone. Me and him was just talking. We was talking about old time shit. You know, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to.
However, when interest started to wane, a new wave of internet videos and comments thrust the narrative back into the public eye. This time, Snoop Dogg became the unexpected center of attention. Bold headlines and social media messages began to circulate, implying that Snoop was being protected or under pressure because of content that was never included in the documentary. Some pundits went so far as to question what Gene Deal actually meant, what 50 Cent's project decided to include or omit, and how Snoop Dogg has responded to the matter in public. Above all, we'll dissect what material has been validated and distinguish proven facts from internet conjecture.
Check out this audio from Suge Knight. It's from his podcast with Dave Mays, and he's speaking on, you know, Tupac and Snoop being cool, and how, you know, after Tupac got killed, Snoop started hanging out with Diddy. And, you know, he also speaks on how, you know, Snoop, he did the Steve Harvey show with Diddy after Tupac got killed. Check this out.
Okay. It's downloading right now.
Then you look at the scenario how everybody used Pac to make their stuff famous or make their project better. You got people who use their songs for Pac and tell them how much they love Pac, but they do songs for Puffy. You got Steve Harvey over that, you know, this motherfucker telling, well, Pac, according to everybody else, he brings Snoop and Puffy on there and say, these are dudes who running this in the East Coast, West Coast.
What's up, Snoop?
Huh? Hey, whoa. Oh, wait a minute, fellas here. Hold on. You know, I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my people.
Well, that's what we came in for. We came in and light it up and ride it up. We made you your hair. Now, Pac, if you love Pac so much, how you with the motherfucker everybody say got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one.
What you think about Suge comments? And I never asked you this before, but did you have an issue with Snoop hanging out with Diddy after Tupac got killed?
I always felt that was wrong. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm talking about from that. Like now, okay, you know what I mean? I'm 46, Snoop probably early 50s. If he figured out now, he might go by the opinion that, okay, Puffy had nothing to do with Pac. You know, we're grown now. If he want to be his friend, no problem. But back then, that was just awkward. You know what I mean? And the reason why it was awkward to me that I never even like it because you knew how Pac felt about this individual. You know what I mean? Even if you don't agree with him, you probably could have said, you know what, I probably ain't gonna come out, you know, publicly with this because until things clear up. So I really know I could be certain that, you know, they didn't have nothing to do with Pac. But it's like, it was no, you know, okay, it is what it is. So that I never really respected that back then.
So you had an issue with it, you didn't like it?
Never really liked it. It just was a strange look because you was Pac boy. You know what I mean? Puffy, you know, it's clear they had some issues with Pac. And Pac died and all of a sudden you chilling with Puffy. Back then it just, okay, now you can say what you want. You go all grandfathers, I guess. You know what I mean? That's different now. But back then I think it was weird, it was tasteless. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like you really had that much love for Pac. You could have just, you know what I mean? Unless he pressured them or like questioned Puffy, like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? then you could say, you know what I mean, no problem.
Official court records never contained Snoop Dogg's name. It was not referenced in the federal case that resulted in Diddy's conviction, nor was it reported in any official records. However, his identity was soon connected to the story in online conversations, music. This change was brought about by prior relationships and long-standing industrial ties, rather than by legal evidence. During some of the most intense years in the history of hip-hop, Snoop music crossed paths with Diddy and numerous other prominent figures. Music Gene Deal, a former security official associated with Diddy, started to appear frequently in interviews and response videos following the release of the documentary. He implied that some people might have been uncomfortable since some elements were omitted from the final release. Just that remark ignited a lot of online conjecture. Commentary outlets jumped at the chance, stating that because Snoop is so well-known, prominent, and connected to both sides of the industry, important video was left out. Naturally, attention turned to him. The online conversation was further enhanced by the re-emergence of old video, clips, and a Suge Knight interview section.
Like I believe somebody mentioned that they seen a video with me and the dude Prodigy or one of the dudes from our Deep, as if I was with. They don't know the backdrop of that. I went to his hotel room ready to fight. Like, bro, I'll fight everybody in that room one-on-one. Even if I lose, it doesn't matter. The Outlaws was with me. My homie Tiny, the Mexican homie, was with me. I didn't go there and say, let me get in a video with these guys. I went there knocking on their door, doom, doom, doom. Tell them dudes to come out. What's up with y'all? What's up with you and Pop? You got a problem with Pop? Because we could just fight like man to man, face to face, and then shake hands. That was my approach with them. But when they told me they didn't have no problem, I don't mind being with you. You know what I mean? I don't mind shaking your hand because they told me they had love for Pop. So that's different. You know what I mean? If he come out and say, well, I already, I questioned Puffy about it. I believe that he didn't, he loved Pop. That's my opinion. I can move the way I want to move. So when people try to, I noticed somebody, I think on your page do that. Well, Napoleon was in the video with Mobb Deep. They don't know how I got in that video with Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? I pulled up on him and but I'm the type of person, I never been a bully type of person. You know what I mean? If I talk to a person like a man and they tell me face to face, look, I got love for Pop, I'm comfortable to know if I can look in the eyes of, if I believe what they said, I have the right to say, okay, no problem, I believe you. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what Snoop went through, I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. Pop just had died. You know what I mean? Like, he had the right to say, the reason why I'm rolling with Puffy, I questioned him about my homie, he gave me this answer. So then he did what he had to do, but it just, you know what I mean? I never really agree with that, to be honest. The same way I couldn't be on the stage with him. When they wanted to do that tribute, I just couldn't do it. Like, I really felt in my heart, like, man, I can't.
This is the point at which things get dangerous. Facts are subordinated to suspicion when personal ties are used as evidence. The most often made assertions are frequently not the most trustworthy during times like these. Sean Combs. There was never any overt criticism of the music industry in The Reckoning. Diddy remained the center of attention. The movie chronicled his ascent through Bad Boy Records, the impact he created, and the structures that permitted his music dominance to continue growing unchecked for years. The documentary focused on first-person narratives and looked at recurring patterns of influence, abuse, and control. It made no accusations of criminal wrongdoing against Snoop Dogg. It provided no images or substantiated evidence linking him to criminal behavior. It has not been shown that 50 Cent purposefully protected Snoop. Curtis Jackson has openly addressed this, saying that the project only contained data that his legal counsel could verify and approve.
Doing a documentary, thinking he was going to come out triumphant.
Yeah, I didn't know that's how this started, is he started filming himself and getting this footage because he thought he was going to beat everything. Okay,
Diddy
that makes sense. Okay.
Has a relationship.
I knew that. With Ted Sarandis. I saw that. Yes. Okay.
And he's filming it there. But of course, when you get, obviously it wasn't a clean sweep on the prosecutor's side, but you're still going to prison.
Yeah.
He basically kind of scraps it. It's not also Netflix is saying, because they commissioned it, right? Netflix is saying, all right, cool, just turn over what you got, and what we'll do, we'll make it what it is, because we're just following reality. Diddy's like, well, hold on now. If I lost the case, I'm down to still do it with you, but I got to be able to control it. Now, Diddy was probably going to kind of shape this doc to make it look like, hey, this was malicious prosecution. They kind of went really hard at me. Mm-hmm. I'm not a perfect guy, but I am a good guy.
Yeah.
And Diddy was like, I need to be able to craft it. And Netflix was like, no, you're not. And he's like,
well, my question is, did he sign the footage over to Netflix so they own it? Like, how were they able to do this without his?
No, but he didn't pay for it. So essentially, they're calling it a payment error. So essentially, the deal falls apart, or he's like, yeah, we're not going to do this.
So awkward.
And the people who did the work that have all this footage, they're like, so wait, you told us to film because this is going to be on Netflix. Now you're saying Netflix doesn't exist and we're not getting paid because Diddy was going to pay with Netflix money. And Netflix realized this and they went to the filmers and said, hey.
At a time when spectacular allegations frequently garner attention, the documentary, if anything, adopted a cautious approach. The project refrained from criticizing individuals unless their responsibilities were substantiated by credible evidence or proof. Talk about unpublished or hidden video is still unsubstantiated because of this prudence. There are no videos that have been verified. Snoop Dogg is not mentioned in any court documents, and no official investigators have named him as being under investigation. In fact, following the documentary, Snoop openly stated his support for 50 Cent. He expressed his support for Curtis Jackson and made it apparent that they were not at odds. The idea that Snoop was concerned about what might surface is immediately refuted by this public alliance. Open support is rarely an indication of worry.
Look at this through the prism of a modern-day rhetorical genius. A modern-day rhetorical genius. We're talking about the one, the great, the 50 Cent. All right, this guy's skill at rhetoric is absolutely next level. And this totally ties in with, you know, how he famously is a big fan of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Now, rhetoric with a capital R, I can just give you the definition of that. That's basically public speech, particularly public speech that is to persuade. Any persuasive public speech is rhetoric, right? Now, we kind of break that down into two subcategories of rhetoric with a lowercase r and dialectic. Rhetoric is essentially everything else, and really what moves the needle with like 97% of people and 100% of groups, okay, is in fact rhetoric with the lowercase r. So again, stuff like this, 50 Cent is an absolute master of. Basically, you know, he dropped this doc, this 50, this Sean Puffy Combs doc, and it's just kind of set the internet on fire. It's beating out Stranger Things. Like, it's a wild ride to watch, right? And one of the things that he does is he breaks down Diddy's character on Diddy's own terms.
One of the most often cited allegations stems from Courtney Burgess's accusations that he had flash drives thought to be linked to Kim Porter. He claimed that sensitive media featuring well-known people was on these devices. After that, internet pundits started naming their own music, and Snoop Dogg was frequently included in the conversation. Critical context is typically absent from those discussions. The children of Kim Porter openly denied any allegations pertaining to purported papers or items associated with their mother. Neither the relevance nor the contents of the flash drives have been validated by federal officials. People shown in unverified information are not always viewed as wrongdoers in formal court settings. Snoop Dogg music is not identified by any authorized record, and no verified material has been made public. False narratives develop in this way. A rumor develops from a suggestion. The rumor turns into a headline, which then solidifies into fact. Having unconfirmed information does not prove misconduct. Courts depend on trustworthiness, proof, and confirmation. Online critique doesn't. This distinction allows reputations to be damaged without following the proper procedures. Claims that Snoop Dogg is behaving out of fear failed to take into account all of the important steps. There is no indication of an investigation, no public record of interrogation, and no legal action associated with his name. Nothing official links him to these accusations as of December 2025.
Because he wanted them to, both Suge and Pac,
In the car?
they only Pac, and they don't Suge. So allegedly, they got paid $500,000. The $500,000 was paid to the guy on the right, all the way to the right. You see the guy on the right, Corey? He's the one allegedly that got the $500,000, and that money never went to Keefe D or anybody else. The guy on the left is the one that stole the chain, the chain, which was a Death Row Records chain. That's a way of saying I got your rapper's chain, because if you were one of the guys, Death Row. So long story short, this whole thing isn't recording that he said this. So what does Diddy do? Rob, can you pull up this song? It's a song called Black Rob, featuring Mark Curry and Mario Winans. If you can just type in lyrics, okay? So he gets $1 million. Can you go to the lyrics? And Diddy's in the lyrics when he gets started. Go a little bit lower. Can you type in the word in there, Rob? Nice guy. Type Control F, nice guy. Okay, right there. Look at it. It's 1999. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Been nice too long. I'm just gonna start making y'all disappear. Man, first I'm gonna take your records off the radio. Then I'm gonna erase your social security number. Take your birth certificate out flies. I'm gonna do your whole effing family. Ain't nothing but mercy. And then, by the way, in the lyrics, he says, I'll drop $1 million on your head to erase you. Can you type in, I'll drop $1 million, just put Control F. Just go to Google and type this out. I'll drop $1 million on your head. I'll drop $1 million on your head and just put Diddy next to it. Right there. See, it says Black Rob. What song came up? I'll drop $1 million on your head. Erase you and your whole family, biatch.
Wow.
He's saying it in the song on what he did to get rid of Tupac. What an idiot.
Over the years, Suge Knight has made numerous accusations against Snoop Dogg, accusing him of treachery and connecting him to significant incidents related to Tupac Shakur's death. Every time the music industry comes under fresh investigation, these claims usually come out again. They have never been backed up by credible facts, though, and they are not new. While Prison Knight has made similar allegations, frequently music and interviews that garner notice due to their contentious nature, Snoop Dogg has continuously denied these allegations, calling them untrue and motivated by resentment and long-standing rivalry. Crucially, Snoop Dogg has never been charged or sued as a consequence of governmental inquiries into Tupac Shakur's case.
For being out there and allowing Misa to come out there to make money, however she was doing it, to feed her family. He vowed down that it's like, yo, I ain't never f***ing with her again, and I ain't never f***ing with him again. Puff and Suge had a conversation behind the House of Blues about was we all right, and Tupac was alive. Tupac wasn't dead. So if it was a war, Suge ain't having no conversation with Puff about we good. I know he could be doing the Hoboken hustle, trying to fool him, brother. But had he killed my man or something like that, I wouldn't have no conversation with Puff. I'd been like, yo, you know what y'all niggas done? You know what happened? And it wasn't no conversation like that, brother. It wasn't no conversation whereas that, Suge made Puff feel like, I'm gonna get you a payback for what happened to Jake. This was more so that Puff, for whatever reason, Suge, for whatever reason, he was mad at Puff. And Puff, for whatever reason he was mad at Suge, it was between them two. It wasn't no whole East Coast wanted the West Coast dead, and the West Coast wanted East Coast to dead, because they still was going out, still chilling, still at places with each other. It was Bad Boy, and it was Death Row. It wasn't no East Coast or no West Coast. West Coast dudes were still coming out on the East Coast getting love. East Coast was still going out on the West Coast getting love. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And that's what it was, bro. And it was because of the two CEOs. But Suge tried to straighten it out. I gotta get at the Suge. The Death Row East Coast, the Death Row East was going to bring in Eric B. It was going to bring in Big D. And those brothers was from the East Coast. So now, they was looking for a representative to come to the meeting from Bad Boy, so they could straighten out between Pop and Big and Death Row and Bad Boy. And Puff is the one who refused. Puff is the one to refuse to send a representative or either come himself. And got mad at Zip and them because they were in the Mirage on 57th Street partying with Suge Knight. Got mad at them. And Zip hung up the phone on him behind it.
Repetition is sometimes mistaken for proof in online discussions. A claim might start to seem plausible, even in the absence of strong evidence, if it is repeated enough times. Many online voices rely on that significant mental shortcut. Context is typically lost in the process. The partnership between Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg ended decades ago as a result of personal conflicts, business disagreements, and well-documented, highly visible feuds. In such a setting, statements should be carefully considered and not taken at face value. Reiterating prior charges in the present does not increase their credibility. It just makes the noise around them louder.
I don't know where you get all the extras from, but they had a conversation at the hospital and all that. That's absolutely not true. Say less, if you know what I mean. But instead of just saying less, since I've been in here, Snoop and other people been having people trying to bail the guy out, Keefy D, because he talking too much. Raising them trying to do stuff for Puffy because they say he talking too much. They even had somebody talk to me and say, hey, you can help him get free. I said, look, I don't have nothing to do with none of that, and I'm not leaving prison to go to nobody county jail. To the point they were saying, well, you can't leave and sacrifice a little bit in the county jail to stop that black man from getting life. Hell no. I ain't wishing bad on him at all, because I don't want to see nobody go to prison. And like I told you last time, as I find out more details about certain things, I probably would go to the Vegas County Jail if me and Keefy D with Sellies. We have a good conversation after I give him, six upside his head, another 6 in his body, and another 2. But yeah, that's different than happened with Snoop didn't go to the hospital. That's a lie.
One of the most frequently made assertions was that Snoop Dogg stopped talking once the documentary came out. Even a cursory examination disproves that notion. Snoop continued to be active on the internet, posting about business and music while publicly endorsing 50 Cent. Selective attention, not facts, gave rise to the disappearance myth. People who are devoted to a plot often ignore anything that contradicts it. Snoop did not withdraw from the public eye, close his platforms, or issue warning remarks. He carried on managing his businesses, notably Death Row Records. Sometimes quiet is deliberate, but in this instance, there was absolutely no stillness. There was only the option to ignore unconfirmed rumors.
Just got out the gym, doing my workout boxing. Suge, you right. History would repeat itself. Nigga, you wasn't the only nigga in the room, nigga. You wasn't by yourself. It was other people in the room too. I'm not gonna say no names, cause like you said, we don't talk. So why you on here talking? Let that go, man. And as far as Snoop and Corrupt write my album, you ask them niggas that. Them niggas ain't wrote my album. Corrupt helped me with Do You See? Snoop helped me with This DJ. Other than that, everything else I wrote. So that's where you wrong at again. And as far as the tough guy, do you recall when we was at the World Club and then said Death Row and NWA? Who fired on that? Me. When you was at the Comedy Store, fighting that little buff ass at the Comedy Store, who saved your motherfucking ass? Me and C-Style. So what have I done to you? For you to launch out at me Look, don't get mad at me, man. I ain't never done nothing to you. I wasn't signed to you. So
Right now, Snoop Dogg and Diddy differ primarily in evidence rather than fame or music. After years of inquiry, testimony, and judicial scrutiny, Diddy was found guilty. In contrast, Snoop's predicament is wholly dependent on rumors and relationships. According to federal records, Snoop Dogg is not facing any accusations, indictments, or continuing investigations as of December 2025. That distinction is crucial. Authorities' silence does not guarantee protection in an environment when many prominent individuals are under investigation. It shows a lack of evidence. Although the music industry is experiencing upheaval, not everyone involved is at fault. The truth is only compromised when it matters most, when the distinction between rumor and fact is blurred.
In a documentary, there's a couple things I'll share with you guys on what I took away from it. But Rob, maybe share the clip on how he got access to some of the footage of the documentary. Is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. Perhaps.
Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. His team sending a cease and desist to Netflix.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean it's not true. Of course. But they relied on stolen footage, okay, is what they relied on. And then they ask about the history of 50 and him, issue that they've had. What's the one you just pulled up, Rob?
This is where they talk about the feud, and then I also have 50 Cent talking about Diddy's reaction to the documentary.
Yeah, that's so funny. That is so funny. But watch this one here. Go ahead, Rob.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details. You know, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
Yeah, I mean, so that's that part, right? The fact that the feud with the two of them, hey, let me take you shopping. Like, you say that to a girl, and 50's like, what are you talking about? Take me shopping. How do you ever flip a mind? You want to take me shopping? And then last but not least, Rob, the other clip you have of 50 is talking about how he thinks Diddy's going to like this documentary. Go ahead, Rob.
Sean Combs watches this. What do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
She can't even hold it.
Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think he'll see.
Snoop Dogg is currently at the epicenter of one of the most prevalent behaviors on the internet, transforming doubt into accusation, past disputes into evidence, and conjecture into dread. The truth is straightforward when you take away the dramatic headlines and response films. No footage has been verified. There are no fees. He has not vanished. Snoop's panic isn't the true story. It's about the speed at which stories can develop when a prominent figure falls, and everyone in the vicinity becomes a suspect by implication. The real question is not who the internet wants to target next. As the fallout from Diddy's case develops and more information becomes available, the crucial question is whether facts will be given precedence over rumors or if conjecture will continue to assign blame before the truth ever gets a chance to.